Jack from Speakeasy Circus to our Yupty Interview Series.
Thank you so much for having me. Wonderful to be here.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, of course. So my name's Jack and I sing and I play the guitar. There's 5 of us in the band. We've got Fraser on the drums, Chats on the bass, we've got John on the sax, and we've got Fen on the trombone. So I like to describe it as a bit of a indie funk mix, because it started out just me being like obsessed with like Arctic Monkeys and Libertines and Guns N' Roses and anything guitar based, and just writing music like that. And then through playing in different bands in Glasgow, we all sort of met each other, and suddenly my mind was opened to, you know, funk music and soul music and jazz music and all this different type of stuff that I hadn't really been experienced to. I hadn't really experienced at all, and then we just put it all together. So it's kind of like, yeah, some Arctic Monkeys riffs, but with some horns and, you know, different influences and stuff. It's interesting. Yeah, so it started out as a solo project when I first moved to Glasgow, basically because I didn't know anybody. I was desperate to join to start a band, but I literally just didn't know anybody. So I thought, well, in the meantime, I might as well just do stuff myself until I find some other people. So that definitely had a different feel, because there was no horns really on the early stuff, and then it was honestly just through playing with these other guys that, you know, we had such a good sort of chemistry, such a good vibe playing together. Stuff felt like it was coming out so naturally. And then I realized that even in my head, when I was going back and I was writing new stuff, I was almost like subconsciously like thinking like, oh, this would be great with horns, even before there were even horns in the band. So I was like, all right, now I've got to get them. I've got to get them in to come and play it. And then the most recent music that we've done is just, there has definitely been a progression, because it's like, I mean, our most recent single was like a year or so ago, a little over that, and it was like just big sort of bombastic horn lines, everything like that, and that's actually kind of a similar vein to our new music that we've got coming out this year as well, so really excited. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, bands like Wolfpack, like Snarky Puppy, even like sort of Bob Reynolds, who's the sax player for Snarky Puppy, like one of John, who's our saxophone player, he actually lives with me as well, one of his favourite sax players. And so like just being through that, like I started listening to his stuff, and then, you know, you hear Bob Reynolds and then you're like, oh, he plays for this band Snarky Puppy, and they're like, oh my god, you've not heard Snarky Puppy, like here's like this stuff, and like, oh my god, you've not heard that. And so like really just sort of opening your mind to it. Same with like Wolfpack and stuff. Like I had never, that was actually Chats, who was, I mean, he must have told me to listen to Wolfpack like a dozen times, and I just like I was like, yeah, I'll get round to it. And then of course I was like on Facebook or something, and a video popped up, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And I was like, oh my god, that's what he was talking about. Like I should have listened to him a long time ago. So we actually had done some stuff with a label called Animal Farm, which was down in London, and we released our last 3 singles with them. But then we basically wanted to kind of be a little bit more local, and we wanted, just like down in London, like it was like a long way, that kind of thing. So we decided that we wanted to just have a bit more control ourselves, be able to sort of release music when we wanted to, and also work locally as well. So we actually met up with Luigi Paschini, who works for Dystopia Records, which is based in Partick, and that's where we've been recording our newest stuff. So we've got a single that's coming out at the end of July, on the 21st of July. We'll have another single maybe 2 months after that, and we'll see the exact release date. And we've got an EP that's going to be coming out at the end of the year, which is definitely the best. I'm so excited about it. It's definitely the best stuff that we've ever done. It was so good working. I don't know if you've ever been to Dystopia Records. It was this like big old building in Partick, and they've just got the whole building. So they've got this massive space. Like we could record more like the drums, bass, and guitar. Like we could all record together, instead of like tracking stuff separately, which I really just think gives it such a different feel of like it's like us playing, which was so nice. And then honestly we were just throwing everything at it. There was like no bad suggestion. Everything was like racking through all these like tape machines, like let's just throw a tape machine on it, let's get an organ, let's just do this. We've got a xylophone on some of the songs, like this little kiddie glockenspiel. We're like, it could sound good, let's do it. Just like honestly just like so much fun to be in that space and just have time to just like experiment with loads of different stuff. And I think it's coming out really good, so I'm so excited for it to finally be out. We're doing so on the 23rd of July, which is just the Sunday after the release, we're actually doing a show in Glasgow, so at the Old Hairdresser, and it's a little bit of a different show because we're kind of combining the single launch with a screening of a documentary that we've been working on. So last summer, we decided to go on a tour around the north of Scotland to all these like crazy out of reach places that you wouldn't normally go to play shows, and we did it in support of Bernardo's children's charity. And so we ended up raising £2,000 for the charity. We did a workshop with a bunch of the kids that are in the care system up in Inverness, and basically like showing them around all these different musical instruments, getting them playing, donated a drum kit to them. That was actually John's old drum kit 'cause he's from up there, and we were like, yeah, why don't you guys have that? And so we basically took cameras with us, and we were just filming as much as we could, because we were away for 14 days. We did 12 shows. We were in like quite far away places like Gairloch, Durness, Thurso, like playing these little like village halls, some like pubs and stuff, like all these different types of places. So we're just filming as much as we could, and then we got our friend Alfie, who is a videographer. We just gave him like 500 hours of like, there you go, of stuff, and we were like, can you make a documentary from that? And he was like, okay, God, when do you need it by? So yeah, we're gonna sort of want to combine the two and have like a kind of screening first, and then we'll do like a show afterwards. So yeah, should be good. I'm really looking forward to it. And it was funny because we had done like 8 or 9 of the shows by the time we made our way around into Inverness, and we did the workshop. And it's what you sort of forget. We'd forgotten a little bit about like the reason that we were doing it, in the sense of like the Bernardo side of things, because you're so just like in like the sort of show mode of just like then get into the show, setting it up, packing down, like and then we went to do the workshop with the kids, and honestly it just kind of like blew our minds, like what a good, like we had such a good time, they seemed to have such a good time, like we were, by the end we had them like jamming, like improvising stuff by themselves. We had like a drum kit, everyone just like grab some guitars, grab some keyboards, whatever you can do. We were just like, it was honestly so much fun. It was quite I guess like a humbling like experience for us as well, because we had been so like into the music side of things, but you see a totally different side of like what music can do, and yeah, it was great. And we got feedback afterwards from the people that work there that said that all the kids had an absolutely amazing time, and that was kids from like 6 years old, 7 years old, all the way up to 18 years old. Like we had like such a big bunch of people, and yeah, the feedback was that they all had a great time, which is all that we wanted. So yeah, it was great. It was amazing. Yeah, definitely. I mean, so I wouldn't say that I have like a very strict like process or anything like that. I have a notes app on my phone that's just filled with nonsense, basically. Just anytime I have like a random thought or anything, I just like put it in there, and then every now and again when I'm like, oh, I'm struggling to think of something to write about or for this, I'll just like scroll through and just see if anything kind of pops out. I think that there's a bit of a combination of sort of like more personal sort of songwriting, but then also like I really like looking outwards and like writing about other stuff that I see. For example, the single that we have coming out in July is called Gros Michel, but we affectionately name it the Banana Song, because Gros Michel is a type of banana. It is the original type of banana that was originally sort of farmed and exported to the United States, like in the beginning of like the 20th century.
Okay.
And basically the banana company, which used to be called the United Fruit Company but is now called Chiquita, is just the worst company in the world. Terrible. Have massacred people, have poisoned people, paid terrorists, like all this kind of stuff, which is all like proven and all this kind of stuff. And so I really got just obsessed with like, I was like watching documentaries about like bananas. I don't even like bananas that much. they're okay, but so I just got obsessed with that. I just like went down this rabbit hole, and I was like learning so much about it, and I just like really had this impulse to like write a song about and it's like one of those things that is like on the surface it seems like a little bit of a silly song. It's like it's called banana song, and like it's about bananas, and you say that to the crowd and everybody kind of laughs, but like there is kind of like a more serious like message underneath it. And I think that's quite a lot of the lyrics go down that route, where it's like initially might not seem they're almost like a little tongue in cheek. Like this, it maybe doesn't seem as serious, but there is like kind of like a message underneath it. Because you never want to write like preachy music either, do you? You want it to be good on a surface level, and then if you want to sort of delve deeper into it, you can see different stuff. But yeah, that's the origin of the new song that we have coming out, the Banana song, Gros Michel. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, that's going to come out on the 21st of July, and then on the 23rd of July at Old Hairdressers we're going to do our screening / single launch, which is the first time we've ever done a show like this, so come along and see how it goes. So Speakeasy Circus on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Even got a TikTok account as well that'll be throwing some content up on there as well. Lots of banana themed content, as you can imagine. We're just putting all of our bananas in one basket, as it were. We'll have all the sort of links and all that sort of available there. So tickets, music, all that kind of stuff is all available there.
Fantastic. Yeah. Listen, Jack, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I've also been appreciating your Led Zeppelin poster behind there. And, it's great. A lovely wee space you've got here. Perfect.
Thanks so much, man.
Awesome. Thank you.